every Sunday from 12:30 p.m. to 1 p.m. PST on Volley 92.3 FM.
Namaskar, Bay Area. I'm Vijay Lakshmi. Welcome to Real Estate Roundup, a glimpse into what you can expect when you venture into Bay Area real estate. And giving you that exclusive glimpse is none other than Nagraj Anaya, your trusted Bay Area realtor and the founder of nagrajhomes.com. So, if you've been toying with the idea of getting into the market, whether as a buyer, a seller, an investor, you're looking to refinance your home or possibly invest or rent, you've reached the right place on the dial to do that. Join us in this conversation with Nagraj. The number to call in on Volley 92.3 FM 408-912-5038. That number 408-912-5038. And we're also not only live on Volley 92.3 FM, but we're also simulcasting on YouTube. Yes, folks, that's Nagraj Anaya's YouTube channel. You can join us there as well. Put your questions in the comment section. We'd love to hear from you. Call us with your observations, your experiences in real estate, and we'll take it from there. The number again, 408-912-5038. And with that, hello, Nagraj. Happy Sunday.
Hello, Vijay Lakshmi. Hello, Bay Area. Happy Sunday.
Yes.
Hope you guys are having a great Sunday out there. Do please call today. Like we are live on Body 92.3. The show is for you guys. We want you to build wealth, build asset, right? The show is all about sharing your information or giving you right directions so that you can make it right investments when it comes to real estate.
Absolutely. This show is for you. And that's another reason why we're also simulcasting on YouTube live. If you go in there into the live section anytime into the videos, you'll see us there. You can also catch up on what we've discussed. If you're not able to hear the entire show in its entirety, you can always get it there. So that's another reason. And yes, this show is for you. Any questions that you have surrounding real estate that's been on your mind, this is the time to run it by the subject matter expert, and Nagraj can handhold you through it all. And he loves to have people equipped, updated, and with the knowledge before going into any kind of transaction. So
any questions can be right, like it can be any questions. It might be a simple question, but it might be, don't hesitate. It's a small question. Any question can be helpful for anybody, right? Like do give us a call back or call us out on the show, and Vijay Lakshmi can share the number.
Absolutely. So, go ahead.
When you're sharing the number, right? I have one great question to you, like or to the listeners out there. What is the safety of the neighborhood? Right?
Safety of the neighborhood.
Right? It's a lot of people get confused, right? Like the safety of the neighborhood is defined like basically based on the crime report. Right, like what's happening in around the neighborhood, right? That is where the safety is defined, right? Like and how the patrolling happens around the area, right? All this define the safety factors. For example, even the physical environment, social stability, access to basic services, traffic safety, and the natural disasters, right? When you're buying a house, this plays a very, very critical role. As a home buyer, they need to do their homework. What is the safety of the neighborhood, right? It plays a crucial role before putting an offer or before finalizing the house. After you put in an offer and you decide, hey dude, like this might be not the safety of it. So as always in a home buyer, you need to look at the crime rate, what's happening around in that. Because after you put an offer as a buyer and you decide to back out from that, you will be losing your earnest money. Earnest money can be more than a 3%, or close, or earnest money can be up to a 3%. Okay, you can lose it. So always as a home buyer, do your due diligence.
That's where you can research, because it's critical. Safety.
It's very, very critical, right? We were discussing about few hours back, like on the Sunnyvale safety, right? Like we were saying, like we were keeping doors open, right?
Yes, like 25 years back when we got the house, when we first got it, we were so sort of excited and we thought it's like a big house by India standards, and we would forget to even lock doors and keep things open, and then realize that it had been open all night. But you wouldn't do that now.
Yeah.
But yeah, that is something. And with all of these new things going on, the catalytic converters being stolen, or people just randomly coming into the home, things, we went through that phase as well. So safety and security in the neighborhood is
Is
very, very
very, very
important.
important. So
Hmm.
don't neglect that part. Look at the crime rate, right? Like there are a lot of websites, crimemapping.com. For example, crimemapping.com covers it for the San Jose, right? And it might not be covered for the Santa Clara, Cupertino and area. So for
Yeah.
the each city specific, find out what is the crime maps for that. So it
Hmm.
gives out the details in it, right?
Yeah.
As you need to be looking at is like, is there any break-ins in the house, right? That is very important. It is like some of the, if they're entering into the house, then it
Yeah.
might be a sign. So you need
Right.
to watch out for that when you're buying
Hmm.
in a house.
That is actually good that you're zeroing in on that, because I don't think people realize that that is an aspect that you have to research as well,
Yeah.
the safety of the
No, that is
neighborhood.
very, very important, right? Like you
Hmm.
can't, after you move in or like after you go into the contract, you should not be start digging into it. When
Yes.
you're
Yes.
finalizing the house, that is a one of the aspect you need to be looking in.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Yes, absolutely. So, folks, if you're just joining us, I'm Vijay Lakshmi in conversation with Nagraj Anaya, who can help you home in on your dream destination. Team up with him, and he is the knowledgeable neighborhood partner. He can help make your real estate dreams come true. He knows the areas like the back of his hand, the right pricing, the latest listings, the ins and outs, and the buzz around town. That's all that we talk about on the show, and we welcome you to join us. 408-912-5038, 408-912-5038, on any aspect of real estate that's on your mind that you'd like to discuss with Nagraj. This is the time to do that while we have him on air live. And from search to sale, he'll provide expert advice and unwavering support to you, to basically make your experience in real estate stress free. So call us now if you would like to discuss. We always talk about what's hot happening and trending in Bay Area real estate, and also the ins and outs, whether you're trying to buy or sell a home, what you need to know. And so, Nagraj, actually
I think
talking
Vijayalakshmi, you
about,
missed one more important thing, right? On the safety
yeah.
of the, when you're doing research on the safety, right? One more important thing as a home buyer needs to do is check with the neighbors, right?
Uh-huh.
They are the right source of information.
Yes.
Okay.
Uh-huh.
Not only the crime maps, go
Yeah.
talk to the neighbors around.
Yes.
They give you the right source of information for you.
Yeah. Just knock on
Okay.
the door and say, I'm
Yeah.
interested in the
Don't get
house.
panic like looking at some of the steps, but taking into the data always defines
Mm-hmm.
data. Data is there for you to make a decision, right? You
Yeah.
can't assume or you can't. We have one call. Let's take it, Vijay Lakshmi.
Yes. Hello and welcome to Real Estate Roundup. Your name, please, and what you'd like to share with us.
Yes, my name is Neha.
Neha, can you speak a little louder? We can't hear you well.
Yes, are you able to hear me now?
Yes, much better. Go ahead. Welcome. Nice to have you on.
Really nice to be here. Thank you for picking up my phone. I have a question regarding reselling my house. I have a house in West San Jose, and I do not have a garage. I had originally converted my garage into like a playroom inside my house, and
Uh-huh.
I had a question if it's worth building a garage or just leaving it as a carport. Does it
Oh,
make
okay.
sense, and would it help with the resale value?
Hi,
Mm-hmm.
Neha. Happy Sunday, Neha. Thanks for calling. It's a great question. And lot of houses I come across where the garage is like basically converted to a livable space, right? See, it comes
Yes.
down to as a seller how much you want to spend. But when you're disclosing, right, like better to disclose that this garage has been converted, right? And the garage can't be whatever you converted can't be considered as a livable space. Right? That is a thing you need to be always think. Don't think like I've added a 200 square footage, my home price will go up. You should consider as not as a non-livable space, right? If you're okay to disclose and say that why it was done, then you can list as is. Because some of the times the new home buyer can decide if they want to keep it or knock it off. But as a seller, always disclose it. It was done this and this, and when it was done, so that buyer can make a decision based on that.
Does that
So
answer
it
your
was done
question,
this
Neha?
permit.
Sorry, go ahead, Neha.
Thank you so much for that and happy Sunday. I just have
Yeah.
a follow-up.
Go ahead, go ahead.
The garage was converted with permit, so that's not an issue at all in disclosing the information. I currently have a carport.
Okay.
So for that to convert, I know that square footage wouldn't add to the square footage of the house, but
Yeah.
would the money be worth it to spend to convert the garage? And would not having a garage and just having a carport like deter any potential buyers for coming in?
I would suggest keep it like that, because it might, for the home buyer, right, if they're looking for an additional square footage, they would keep it, right? So I think you converting back, it might not be helpful for you anymore. I think I would suggest to keep it like that. And as you said, it's converted per permit. Just disclose that when it was done, and attach the permits papers, right? So that it would be useful for it. Because it's an additional square footage for the buyer to stay, right? But still, as a appraiser, it would not be considering it. I would suggest keep it. It makes sense because it
Thank you.
makes.
And then what if I build a garage in where the carport is right now?
Yes. Do you want to sell it, right? When you're selling it, I would suggest not to put your money in garage building again, because let the home buyer, the new home buyer, can decide it if they want to do it. Because if you want to do it again, you need to be spending minimum close to 200K, depending on what kind of stuffs you're doing it. Adding that 200K might be not like worth of return of investment in this market for you, right? Because you would have bought this house couple of years or a few years back. When you're selling it now, it makes sense for you because it gets you fetch your right money. But when you're adding it, then your value means basically your prices goes up.
Correct.
Yeah. Okay.
Right.
Thank you. Thank you so much for answering my question. And I hope you both have an amazing Sunday.
Thank you so much, Neha.
Thank you, Neha. And of course, make sure that you call us back and tell us how it went, how it all went, and what you did eventually, and how that worked out. So good luck with that.
Thank you.
Thank you,
Thank
Neha.
you.
And if you have
Bye-bye.
any questions, you can call me back after this show.
Yes.
So that we can discuss more on the selling part also.
Yes, I'll give you Nagraj's number. You can get in touch with him offline. That is 408-805-4653, 408-805-4653. But for now, in the moment, give us a call. 408-912-5038 is the number. I'm Vijay Lakshmi talking to Nagraj Anaya, who's an expert realtor in the area. He brings a wealth of knowledge on local communities, on the current market conditions, and on the home buying and selling process, striving to bring exceptional service to you every part of the way. So if you are looking at real estate and at any aspect of it, make sure you reach out to him and bring his experience to bear on your sale or your purchase. So again, 408-912-5038. Keep those questions coming while we have Nagraj on air, and we're also live on YouTube, on Nagraj Anaya's YouTube channel. You can catch us there. We're simulcasting there as well. So we'd love to hear from you and make this your program, your very own real estate program. So Nagraj, we've talked about this before, I'm sure, but maybe we can touch on it again. Or maybe we can do this other question where people are now a little worried with the H1B visas in limbo. They're kind of in limbo with the layoffs that are happening. And they're unsure whether they keep the homes or sell the homes, because they've noticed that between Jan 2022 and May 2023, there were more than 10,000 layoffs in the San Francisco Bay Area. right? So it's a matter of concern. So I know that you're not an immigration expert where that is concerned, but from a realtor, real estate perspective, what would you advise folks who have been sort of given the let go or had layoffs affect them? What should they do? How should they handle their real estate?
I think it's a great question, Vijayalakshmi. Like, see, today morning also I was discussing to a client who was, Nagraj, I want to buy a house, but
Yeah.
I have an H1B right now. I think
Yes.
I don't know should I buy or not, but I'll go and buy. Right? See, H1B is always a limitation when you're going to buy a house, right? But that should not make the factors worse for you, right? So always in a risk for you, always the investment comes with a risk.
Hmm.
If somebody sees there is no risk, that's wrong, right? Investment comes with a risk always, right? And you might, when you bought itself, might have gone through one of the factors, right? What
Yeah.
happens? You should always ask the questions for yourself first,
What if?
right?
What if
What are
question?
these stuffs? Right? So that is where one of the stuffs when you're buying a house, you're looking at the reserve factor also, right? What is reserve, right?
Hmm.
Reserve is like how many months of, if anything happens like this, how many months of a backup do you have to pay for it,
Hmm.
right? For example, husband and wife is working, wife loses the job.
Yeah.
Right? You're basically depending on the husband's job also, right? On top
Yes.
of it, a reserve is like how much money extra do you have it in your savings account, or it can be on your stock options, or it can be on like RSUs, but RSUs might not be given when you lost the job, right?
Mm-hmm.
So that is a one of the stuff, right? The second thing is, the first is the reserves. You need to look at the reserves, how many months of a backup. And
Yeah.
H1B also has a limitation, like I think it's a less than 45 days, or I don't know, on top of my mind, I think it's just 45 days. I think within 45 days, you should be leaving the country, right? If you're just a single income and you need to be leaving a country within a 45 days, if you don't find a alternative job, right? The
I think it's
thing
60 days, right? Yeah.
45 or
That's it.
60 days, I think.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, right. So within that time, if you don't find it, right, what you should be doing, right? Like the one thing is, don't get panic,
Hmm.
right? Find, like, try to find a tenant, right? When you try
Okay.
to find a tenant, try to see the how much you need to rent it out, right? To make it break it even. If you had bought
Mm-hmm.
a house 2 years back, your interest rates are low.
Yeah.
Correct.
Correct.
Since your interest rates are low, you should be able to rent it out so that you can break it even. Or the second thing, call to the realtor, right?
Hmm.
Explain to your scenario, right? See, this is what I bought the house. To make it break it even, if I
Hmm.
sell the house, what are the numbers it needs to be sold?
Hmm.
Look at
Okay.
your home price options right now,
Mm-hmm.
right? With all your expenses left over, how much money you can make it, right? So if it is like you're breaking it even and you don't want to any take a risk, just sell it.
Hmm.
If
Okay.
you if it is going to hurt you, like maybe like you're losing more than 300K or a 400K, that's where you need to have a serious discussion, right?
Yeah.
Because what went wrong? Because I always tell to the first time home buyers, dude, after you buy the house, try to keep your investments like remodeling of the house, all that stuff's minimal. If you have
Hmm.
bought second time, I expect, because you already learned from the first time, you need a second
Yeah.
home better than the first home, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's where you would have upgraded. But first time when you bought a house, right, you should have made the investments, like basically all your upgrades, right, should have been a less.
Yeah.
If you
Mm-hmm.
look at the data right now, the market values are almost similar. It's almost 30% up compared to April, the May data,
Mm-hmm. Oh,
right?
okay.
And compared to the last year, it is just 2% lesser or something. It's almost closer to the last year price right now. So you
Yeah.
might not be losing it out.
Mm-hmm.
All this math you should be sitting and doing with your realtor, your potential realtor. How
Mm-hmm.
can he help it out to make it a break it even for you?
Yeah. Right.
Right? Because if you're going back to your country, right? So it is better to sell it off, like for example, instead of keeping it on the risk, right? If it's breaking even and your chances of coming back, right, then you can rent it out. It again depends, it again depends on how much value of loan is left over.
Yes.
You might have paid almost 50-60 percentage. Now if you get a rent and you might go into the positive cash flow, then there might be a chance for you to rent it out.
Yes.
You can
Correct.
still be renting it from going back to the country, also other country, right? Immigrant
Yeah.
country, right? It is not like that, right? So you can
Yes.
do rent or a sell, but again comes down to the home, right? When you bought a house and what is the condition of the house and everything, and how much profit are you going to make? Are you going to make it break it even?
Okay.
All these stuffs needs to be discussed.
Yeah.
And based on that, you can go for the two routes, right? Like one is the sell or rent. And there are other smaller minimal stuffs like you can rent it out to Airbnb and other stuffs, but all that stuffs you need to be managing more. If you want to think about like, do I need a property manager to rent it out? Yes, again, depends on like, most of the times you can rent it out from using a Zillow, right? Zillow or a
Okay.
Redfin is a great platforms, right? And it allows you to even check the tenant's background.
Oh, okay. Oh, you can do that on Redfin or Zillow.
Yeah,
Get a
Zillow,
renter.
right? You
Zillow.
can be, yeah. So basically, you can verify your tenant's background sitting at your back also, right? Like it is not like that. And if you don't want to manage it yourself, you can always find a property manager. But only thing is when you find a property manager, again depends on the property manager. It might take a 10% or you might take a 1 month's rent. That stuffs you need to work out with a property manager. But
Correct.
losing the job is not end of the world, right? You can always find other alternatives.
Yeah, there
One
are
is
options, opportunities
options
for.
available for you. As I told you, in the, basically even your reserves. The second one is your rent out, and the third one is the sell. But to sell, how much to sell? You need to discuss based on when you bought a house and how is the market right now in that area.
Yeah, yeah. Absolutely. That is actually very good advice right there. And folks, if you're finding yourself in that kind of a predicament, being laid off and not knowing what to do at the moment, feel free to call Nagraj and discuss things, your options with him as well. And his
that
number.
question, I think that question should be answered when you're buying a house also, right?
Yeah.
That needs to be discussed. That's one of the stuffs need to be there in the discussion table. Right? So it's not only with realtor, right? Like even with the family, husband and wife, they need to be discussing their financial stuffs.
Yeah.
And
Correct.
pitch in with even with the realtor, discuss with him what are the stuffs, like how is the resale of this house.
Yes. Yeah. So you should have factored that in.
Yeah.
From the start, because this is sort of is always like a sword dangling on your neck kind of thing,
It's like,
so
always when you buy the house, think that it can be sold. But how is the resale of the house?
Yeah.
So this all
Absolutely.
plays, it's all interconnected. If you're not done your job well during the beginning, and if you're not got educated very well on this, then it's like always goes into some wrong investments, right?
Yes,
That we can
absolutely.
discuss again about the wrong investment strategies. But
that's for another time.
yeah, I think we have a lot of spin-off stories which we can discuss on each topics.
Yes, there's so much to discuss on this, but like we always say, timing is everything. So folks, if you are in any kind of a situation, if you're looking for a new home or you're thinking of selling your current home, nagrajhomes.com and Nagraj Anaya is there for you. He will put his expertise to work and provide you the guidance and the advice that you need to make that best possible decision for your real estate needs. So make sure you reach out to him, and that's simple. All you do is log on to nagrajhomes.com. That's NAGARAJ homes.com. Or you can always call him offline as well, 408-805-4653, 408-805-4653. And any last minute thoughts, Nagraj?
If you
Before
have missed this conversation or like even this show in between, don't worry. We are live on YouTube and this recording will be there.
Yes, you can always go in.
Yeah, reason we do it is so that you get educated. The same questions might be asked from other people also, right? See, always a real estate investment can't happen overnight. Right?
Yes.
So you should be always study, right? Research. You can't buy investment property overnight. Come over like we can buy the investment property if we have a 20-30%. Right now, investments are slow. But you should be having a thought process, having a start discussions, so that way you can make a right investment when it comes in.
Absolutely. Yeah. So get started on your thoughts. And again, Nagraj Homes is where you want to be. And you can join us every Sunday, 12:30 to 1 p.m. only on Bolly 92.3 FM and on YouTube Live. So make sure you have a date with us every Sunday. And on that note, thank you so much, Nagraj. Very informative session right here. Really enjoyed it. Thank you for doing this for the community.
Thank you so much, Vijay Lakshmi, and thanks everyone.
On that note, this is Vijay Lakshmi for Real Estate Roundup. Have a wonderful